Hi guys, and welcome back to my community. This week we want you to focus on how important it is for us to look after each other. A big part of being a member of your community is being helpful and kind to others. Sometimes accidents can happen or people become ill. This challenge will help you to learn about how to act in an emergency and the ways you can help somebody who needs first aid. We look forward to seeing and hearing all about what you get up to. First of all, what is first aid? The purpose of first aid is to help somebody who has injured themselves or fallen ill. To preserve life, first aid can save somebody from losing their life. It can also prevent further injury. First aid can stop a person becoming even more injured than they already are. You can make sure that they are able to breathe comfortably and that they are in a safe position. Ideally, the person shouldn't be moved, but if you have no other option, make sure you move them properly and carefully. Then lastly, to promote recovery. This might be putting a plaster onto a small cut or a cold compress for someone who has banged their arm on something. You provide first aid until the paramedics arrive and take over. So, first aid is emergency care given immediately to an injured person. The purpose of first aid is to minimise injury and future disability. In serious cases, first aid may be necessary to keep somebody alive. First aid is a very valuable life skill for everybody to have. It doesn't matter how old you are or how strong you are, everybody can learn about first aid and how to deal with an emergency situation. First aid helps you to think about risks and how to manage them effectively. It helps you to help other people within your community. Everybody within the community, children, adults, your friends, your teachers, people who work in shops, are all vulnerable to falling ill or having an accident. Knowledge and first aid understanding can help you to support your community in a time of need. Choose option A or option B. Option A. Draw pictures or write words about how important first aid knowledge is. Option B. Write a short paragraph or tell somebody about how learning first aid is an important life skill to have. Think about what are the benefits of knowing about first aid and where in your community you might need to use first aid. You might need to use first aid in an emergency. Here are some examples of emergencies that would require first aid. But don't panic. These are all extreme emergency situations that don't happen very often. But if you know first aid, then you might know how to help somebody in your community who needs some assistance. In an emergency, you can follow Dr. ABC to help somebody. This is a process you would follow from the moment you see somebody who needs your help to the moment that emergency services like paramedics arrive. Now let's take a look at what Dr. ABC actually means. D for danger. Checking that you and the person are not in any danger or risk. R. Response. Shake and shout, are they awake? Keep talking to them. A. Airway. Check that their airway is clear. Tilt their head back. B. Breathing. Use your hand or ear to check the person is breathing. C. Circulation. Check for a pulse. Use 2 fingers on their wrist or neck. Now let's look at each one in a little bit more detail. Danger. The very first thing that you will do is look around and use your senses to see if there is danger to yourself, the person ill or injured, or any other people. Can you see any danger? Can you hear any danger? Smell or feel any danger? If there is, you'll need to deal with the danger first, or more injuries can occur. If possible, you might need to move the danger away from the person, or the person away from the danger. If you can't do this, you'll need to stand back and wait for help. This can sometimes be a tough decision, but it's important that you do not become a victim yourself. Response. Check if the person is responsive or unresponsive. As you approach them, introduce yourself and ask them questions to see if you can get a response. Kneel next to their chest and gently shake their shoulders. Ask questions like, "What has happened?" "Open your eyes." "Can you squeeze my hand?" If they do not respond to you in any way, they are unresponsive and should be treated as quickly as possible. If they open their eyes or give any other gesture, they are responsive. Then you can put them in the recovery position. If a person is unconscious or non-responsive but breathing, they should also be placed in the recovery position while waiting for help to arrive. If they are left lying on their back, they could suffocate on their vomit, or their tongue could block their airway. Putting someone into the recovery position will help to keep the airways open and keep them safe. Next, you need to check that the airway is open and clear. You cannot breathe without a clear airway, so this is important to check. Open the airway by placing one hand on the forehead to tilt the head back and use two fingers from the other hand to lift the chin. To check the airway open, their mouth and look for obstructions. If there is something you can see, like chewing gum or vomit, blocking their airway, try and remove it. If they are unresponsive, you need to move on to breathing as quickly as possible. You now need to check if the casualty is breathing normally. Look, listen and feel. Place your ear above their mouth, looking down their body. Listen for sounds of breathing and see if you can feel their breath on your cheek. Watch to see if their chest moves. If they are unresponsive and not breathing, you need to call 999 for emergency help. If they are responsive and breathing, move on to circulation. To check circulation, look for signs of life, including colour, movement and pulse. The pulse is found by placing two fingers to the groove of the side of the neck, press lightly and feel for the pulse. Once you have established they are breathing, look and check for any signs of severe bleeding. If they are bleeding severely, you will need to control and treat the bleeding by applying direct pressure to the wound. Call 999 for emergency help. If they are unresponsive and breathing, but with no bleeding, put them in the recovery position and call 999 for emergency help. Choose option A or B. Option A. Design an information poster about first aid emergencies and the Dr. ABC. You can use pencils and paper, or you can use a laptop or tablet. Option B. Create a first aid poster with information about the Dr. ABC procedure. The poster should be designed for an area of your choice within the community. And finally, our bonus challenge, the recovery position. Research the recovery position. There's lots of information about the recovery position on the internet and lots of different videos, particularly on YouTube. We would like you to practice the recovery position on somebody within your household. If you feel confident enough, record yourself doing the activity. And we would love to see any photographs or videos of you doing any of the activities within this week's challenge. Hope you're all safe and well, and we look forward to seeing what you get up to. See you soon, guys.